Hey guys, welcome to the official YouTube page for Calm Down with Erin and Charissa. This is where you can watch all of our ridiculous conversations and fun interviews.
We have full shows, we've got pre-games, anything and everything that you guys could want. But first, you're going to have to subscribe. Just hit subscribe right there and you're good to go.
And now you can calm down with us.
Yep. Can you tell that we're reading this off a script? We hope so. All right. We need to calm down and wrap this bad boy up. Press subscribe. Thanks for listening.
Calm Down with Erin and Charissa is a production of iHeartRadio.
Hey, everyone. First of all, happy holidays and happy New Year. So Erin and I always talk about this, but I hope you guys understand how much we appreciate and we love you and your support. We see you at the stadiums. We see your comments. We see the Instagram thing, everything. And we absolutely love doing Calm Down. We are doing a recap of the 2024 year. I know for us, one of our favorite things that we love sharing with you guys is our affinity and love of Taylor Swift. So one of the highlights for us in 2024 was going to the Eras Tour in London, and it was absolutely amazing and lived up to all our expectations. Take a look.
I would love to say this. Taylor's team, thank you guys so much. You guys were so incredible, so thoughtful, and that came from her team, and they were so lovely. We had joked about, going and not cramming for the exam. And Jarrett in my hotel, somebody's at the door, leave me alone. And somebody, Taylor's team, could you get that? Jarrett had said, hey, are we going to have a parking pass? And we're like, let's just hope we have tickets, okay? Yeah. They give you a parking pass. They pick you up. We didn't expect any of this. I really didn't. I didn't know where the heck we were going to be. I didn't even think that we would be near Travis. You and Jarrett were texting and, he's like, see you guys there. When we got down, when they took, no one feels more comfortable at the bowels of a stadium like Chris and I. When they took us down, I was like, oh my God, could we possibly be in this tent? We had never asked. They brought us there. I mean, I think I looked at you and I was like, holy shit.
Because they don't tell you where your tickets are.
They don't tell you anything.
Wow.
They didn't tell us anything.
Yeah.
And I didn't expect it because I knew we've seen the people in there and I wasn't expecting it. And what am I missing, Charissa?
Yeah. No. I think it just can't be overstated how amazing her team is because we were just happy to go. And I don't just say that like, oh, I'm just happy to be there. Like, no, we were really genuinely just happy. Like, we went to London for 48 hours just so we could go to this concert, and anything else was going to be a bonus at that point. So when they put us on that golf cart and took us right to the tent, I was like, what?
I know.
And at one point I was in the tent and I was like dancing, doing my moves, which we'll get to shortly. And then I was like, I turned around and her dad was right in front of me and I was like, I'm so sorry. And he was like dancing too with me and he was so cute. And then he gave me all these guitar picks and I ran over to you and Kylie and I go, I just made an ass of myself and I danced like a spaz. And then her dad saw me and you two both go, I know, we just watched that. And I was like, don't care. Well, I'm so jacked up right now.
Yeah. Ryan, we talked about it on our last podcast, just about like how you act or how I act in front of people. And like Stella McCartney walks in, like, we know Travis, but I still am like very awkward. I'm like, I don't want to get in his way. I don't want him to think I'm here to be like, hey,
ridiculous.
Take a picture of me next to Travis. So I'm like in the back most of the time. And even though I'd been like, wanting to see everything. At one point we were standing there and, Stella walks in and all these people, Leslie Mann walk in and I'm up in the front. I'm like, here, I'm a nobody. You can stand up here. Like, it's fine. Go ahead. And then I'm like, I can't see. But no, it was just I was like wanting to hide, but it was insane. And we can't thank her team enough. And yeah, they're amazing.
Well, I mean, that's fantastic. Obviously, you two getting the special treatment. Not that we actually take credit for setting them up in any way, but the early advocates getting the special treatment from her awesome team is obviously something incredible and can't expect anything less from a world-class act like that. All right. You've talked about the dance moves. There are some videos that you guys had recorded that we haven't put out on social media yet but apparently there might have been a little bit of tension over some dance moves.
Tension is now the wrong word.
No tension? Okay.
There's no, because New York Post is going to run with that we were fighting in the tent.
Sure, go ahead.
Here's the read between Ryan's words. No tension. It is
no tension.
We did not establish what I've learned later is Erin and I are two very different concert goers.
Got to establish protocols.
Okay? Yes. Which, by the way, we are the athletes in us. Like, hey, we'll learn. We'll be better next. We're very coachable.
Good.
So I learn after the fact, after participating in some of my moves, and the videos will show Erin not wanting me to be up in her face. There's one video where I'm dancing and I'm like singing in her face. And remember, like, we have been waiting. Like, this has been like something we obviously had talked about ad nauseum for so long. We've watched the concert on TV, like, individually, together. Like, we have been waiting for this moment. There's some songs like I'd Be the Man, Calm Down, like Shake It Off. There's just pure elation when these songs come on. So I'm up in Erin's face. I'm dancing. I'm screaming. And at one point, Erin gives me the full on fucking Heisman, basically. She like shuns me. She's like, enough. And pushes me out of the way. And I'm like, well, she's not in the mood. And then I go and like hop on over and I go dance with someone else. And at one point, Leslie Mann, I didn't even realize it was Leslie Mann because her back was to me. I just smacked this girl on the bum because I'm having so much fun and like all over the place. And she turns around with this big smile on her face. And I was like mortified, but not really. I was like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. She's like, it's okay. And then like starts dancing again. And I was like, see, Erin, Leslie doesn't care if I dance or smack her on the bum. And Erin's like, what I found out later is the dancer in Erin really wants to concentrate on the concert. And I am acting as if I've had 97 espresso shots and I've just been let out of jail for the first time in a decade.
Look, Nosy Rosie's there taking notes, getting her report ready. She's getting ready to, take some notes on the choreography. You can't be getting in the way.
Yeah, I know. And I'm, a big fan of her dancers. I follow them. I'm psycho with these like TikTok videos. And I was, even Ken, my sister, is asking me, okay, tell me about like, Who's Afraid of Little Old Me? Like, and I was like, well, yeah, there's a stick and there's a thing. And I'm a sucker for what outfit is she coming out with in style. Like I wanted to see, yeah. And listen, my girl right here, and Kendra understood it because we went to a Justin Timberlake concert. And listen, Charissa, I was showing Terry Bradshaw videos today from the concert, and he goes, there she is. She's crazy. And I was like, no, she's nuts. And I was like, but yeah, like we're all not the same. And Charissa said it perfectly. If we're at a football game, we don't want somebody talking to us or like doing the play in front of us, like they're like, oh, and he threw it like this. And I'm like, let me fucking see the routine.
Yeah.
No, it was fine. It was all good.
Okay.
There's no tension.
We
just watch concerts differently.
Only learning experiences. That's all.
Yeah. We consume products very differently. Although, again, to Erin's point, if we're at a football game, the consumption's going to be the same. But don't take me to a concert if you want to watch the dance moves, because the only dance moves you're going to be watching are mine.
That's fair. Right. Mm-hmm. It was funny because, and like, I love CT, but I was like telling her, this is when she does her kind of her mashup of a couple of songs. And Kylie and I are sitting there and I'm like, oh my God, it's got to be Black Dog. It's got to be Black Dog. I feel like it is, because So Long London, I feel like she would have done last and Chris is like, huh? And then this was actually very cute. As she's getting ready, she's starting to talk, and I knew that those songs were coming. I was like, Kylie, do you know what they are? And she said, I don't. So I said, Travis, what do you know what they are? And he was great, whether he had a poker face or not, but he was like, I think it's an old one. And then one of the new ones, and it was adorable. And Chris, I don't know if you heard this. Yeah, he goes, the bridge. And the bridge leads to this. And I just looked at him and I go, the fact you just said bridge blows my mind.
London Bridge is falling down with Travis Kelce saying bridge. It was very sweet.
Yeah. I was like, what about that 3-4 defense? But it was adorable. Very sweet.
Okay. So Travis, as
we're different concert goers.
Yeah. It's different concert goers, and that's okay. It's all just a learning experience. Now we know. We have our routines in place. We know what the expectations are. We're good going forward.
All right,
so Travis, you guys are big on smells, particularly. You've talked about it. Did he smell like his
terrible
signature Louis Vuitton? Were you worried, halfway through the show about your smells? Were we sweating?
Yes.
What happened there?
Oh,
yeah. And I'd like to call somebody out. I mean, we talked about, judging women and their bodies. I saw some of the comments. What's Erin in? Her soccer mom era?
Whoa,
first of all,
come on now.
You're talking about David Beckham's mom there and Ronaldo's mom there and Messi's mom. So I'd love to be.
Great point. First
of all, I will tell you this. And Charissa almost made a massive mistake. She almost wore heels to that concert. And the one thing everybody told us, wear sneakers. Now, Charissa is like Sarah Jessica Parker, Carrie Bradshaw. She can pull off heels and dance in them and be bopping along. But I definitely went for comfort. I had 2 jackets for my soccer mom era. So relax. But yeah, it was like the tent. There's a lot of people. We're bouncing around. Chris is really bouncing around. But no, it's hot in there. And so we just ripped our stuff off and put it over to the side. Now, Carissa looked amazing in her sparkles and all that. And I wish I had done a better job with that. But I loved my jackets. But relax on the soccer mom era, okay? I had a good time.
You know what? Exactly. And to your point, if that's a soccer mom, hot.
Fine.
There was, to elaborate on that, we've talked about it. If you guys listen, Jarrett coined the phrase, do not cram for the exam, since we talked about going to this concert a while ago. I thought I had the perfect outfit. I was just going to go white t-shirt and like these like very bedazzled jeans that I got. And I had to wear a heel with them because the jeans were really long. I didn't want to tell Erin that I was going to wear a heel. I knew she was going to be mad. She's going to be like, why are you doing that? It's going to slow us down. Have you thought about the walk from the parking lot? But unbeknownst to us, there was a golf cart, could have worn the heel. Everything would have been fine. However, day of, so obviously we fly in at different times, but then like that next morning before the concert, we go shopping and I'm like, I can't wear heels. You're right. I'm going to regret this. So I got different pants, tennis shoes, and it all worked out. But
we're doing a day of wardrobe change.
She can pull that off. She's a designer, decorator. She can pull that off. I don't know
if I can pull it off. It was just an audible that like made more sense. But all I could think about is if Taylor Swift can perform for 3.5 hours every night in heels, why can't I have heels on when I'm just bopping around in a 20 by 10 tent? She's moving the whole stage, and for the last, 150 shows or whatever number we're on. Yeah. So, but I ended up wearing tennis shoes, and it was probably the right choice.
Okay, well, the answer to that is, first, you're not training like I'm sure Taylor's training for these shows in heels. And second, if you're not fully prepared for the Heisman stiff arm that's coming from Erin partway through the show, that could lead to some destabilization and some potential injuries.
Interesting, Ryan.
Yeah, we don't.
She's insane, though. I mean, I know, like Chris has said, we watched
kind of tent.
We watched the concert multiple times. I've watched the countless number of TikTok videos. Her stamina is incredible. Like it's crazy. And then you see the pictures out of her the other night in her heels again until 4 a.m. I'm like,
that was Erin's texted me. Erin's texted me because she had to leave earlier than I did. And so I was still there. And she's like, did you end up going out? And I was like, no, I didn't go out. I was like, I was sleeping. And she's like, and look at this one, still in heels out.
She's so impressive.
I have 2 takeaways from this concert. Well, 3. Number 1, I'm so glad that you and I did this. I'm so glad that we actually followed through. I mean, there's a million reasons in life that you end up not doing things. I'm so glad we did this. Number 2, Taylor and Travis, I don't care what anyone says. I don't want to hear it. Don't talk to me. In fact, if you don't like Taylor and Travis, you shouldn't be listening to this podcast and you shouldn't like us because we love them. We have obviously been credited for something that we didn't have anything to do with, but we have advocated for these two from the beginning and seeing it. This is my first time seeing Travis in person, watch her at a concert. And I have these creepy pictures that I'm going to send him, which I'm sure he doesn't need because he has 7,000 pictures of him at her concert that are Getty images. But there's a picture that I took just of her on stage and like he's like off to the side. And the way that he looks at her when he's performing, and I said to him, I was like, you must be so proud. He's like, you have no idea. And my takeaway was how sweet it was that both of these people get to watch one another in their respective professions with like such admiration, with such encouragement. And I was like, what a gift that is to have a partner be able to, Erin, you've had it with Jarrett, like seeing him do his thing. I do that with Steve over his laptop when he's putting together a marketing presentation. Very similar. But like to watch your partner do something that they absolutely love and crush it is very cool. So that's my second takeaway, is that they are so adorable and in love, and it's just sweet to see. And my third and final one is she is a freaking beast.
Force.
I don't know how she does it, but I am in like complete awe. I think that Erin, you and I have really good work ethics, and we'll get on a plane and we'll fly here. You're on location. The second you got back, you're already like back out traveling again. And I just think that the work ethic of that young woman is to be admired and appreciated. So yeah, that
deserves everything she has. The one Charissa talked about, him admiring her and being so proud. There was this moment, and it's well documented because Travis obviously can't do anything at her shows without people taking video. So we're not telling anybody anything they haven't seen over the internet yet. Every angle. She was singing Lover, and she was just singing to him. And we were kind of all standing there watching it. And it was awesome. For the romantics, like Charissa and I, for a guy that we cheer for on and off the field. And obviously we're a massive fan of hers. It was really cool. It was kind of like an inside look of like a relationship of that, all of us had been hoping for. But it was really, really special. And he was just standing there and just, taking her in. And I posted this picture. It's awesome. Jared has this photo. He's standing right behind Travis, and it looks like she's pointing to Jared. And she's pointing to Travis. And Ryan, you sent a great text. Jared always finds his way. Charissa and Jared, they always find their way into something. Like they just do. They're so good at it, the timing. But yeah, it was, listen, we all fall into, we don't really know what's going on behind the scenes. We were there. We saw them. I don't believe for a second this is an act. I'm embarrassed of all the people that said it was a PR stunt. I don't want it to be. I will say this. I hope to God they get married. I want this thing to last. It is so cool to watch. And even, like Charissa just said, having a guy that is that successful, he walks into a room, he lights up a room, having him support her the way he does is such a great message for so many people.
Well said, Erin. No, seriously. It's a love story, baby. And I have to say, too, I'd be remiss that we were there and a bunch of Travis's friends were there and they couldn't have been lovelier. And I think it says so much about who you are as a person, the friends that you keep. And these are friends that he's had in his life for a very long time. And, their significant others, like, were just lovely. And just in talking to them on a very, like, peripheral level and, like, surface level, but just, all you want is for your friend to be happy. And I know that they feel that, and even like what anyone has ever said about her and, the impact that she's had on his life. Clearly, we love them together, and we hope that it is all the things that we hope it is.
Keep advocating
his people
for
are
it.
Great people.
Absolutely.
Yeah, exactly.
All right.
Can we talk about? Oh, sorry. Go Ryan.
No. Look.
It's your show. Go.
No, yeah, I'm pretty sure that's not the case.
We're
what
all
were you going to say?
Go ahead.
All right. So you talked a little bit about outfits. We talked about last minute wardrobe change. One thing that we got a lot of DMs about was the, I think, custom made jacket or the jean jacket. So what's the backstory on that? A lot of people were in on that. They want to know if they can buy it. I don't know if that's possible, but yes, people are loving that jacket.
Yeah, so that is an NFL wear jacket that we have. And that was an idea from our COO of wear, who also made 8 million bracelets for our party. And they were so adorable. Lauren Fenner, love you so much. She and Portia, who works for our manufacturing company of wear, decided, I was like, I kind of want to wear. And so we decided to make use our NFL jacket. Lauren bedazzled it. She put Calm Down on it, put the wear era. She put a bunch of cool patches from Taylor's songs. And yeah, Chris and I traded back and forth wearing it. And it was just so cute. You can buy the NFL and the team jackets. We have them in all teams, NBA, NHL, MLB online. But yeah, no, I'm thinking of maybe doing a little auction for it and money goes to charity,
That's what I was hoping you were going to say.
Or a Taylor charity that she supports. But yeah, we're going to figure all that out. But,
so cute.
It was pretty cool. It was so cute. And Charissa, I know you can add to this. There were just fans from all over the world in London to see her. We saw a lot of Americans. Jarrett and Steve were creepers. We're like, hey, where are you from? To like little 15-year-olds and 10-year-olds, because they were genuinely curious where people were traveling in from. The little girls with their moms and their dads, like I was getting so emotional over. And I think that's such a special thing about Taylor Swift that people don't give enough credit to. Just, the different generations and the dads taking their daughters and stuff.
To elaborate on that, Erin, so we're at a restaurant and so Erin and I are on the inside of the booth and Steve and Jared are on the outside. And we saw this like smoking hot mom and like a bunch of girls with her. And I was like, they've got to be here for the Taylor Swift concert. Like it's like they have to be here. So Steve leans back and he goes, hey, where are you guys from? To the little kids, I go, whoa. I was like, and I looked up immediately at the mom and I said, oh my God, I'm so sorry. He doesn't mean that. We just want to know if you're here for the Taylor Swift concert. I was like, bro, you can't lean back and ask a 10-year-old, hey, where are you from? Like, it's not a good look. So what we ended up deducing the correct way was that they were from Seattle and the mom was there with her 3 daughters. And all I was thinking about in that moment, Erin, like you said, is that they'll never forget that. Like, and first of all, it's not cheap to fly to London from Seattle and hotels and all the things, but like those memories. And I hope not those specific young girls because they seem lovely, but I hope all the little girls that I saw or little boys or not even little, just could be adults for that matter, that like went really like appreciated it the way that we do, because those are experiences that you're like not going to get back again. And especially if you're doing it when you're younger with your family. So very cute.
All right, so we've talked a little bit about Steve and Jarrett, as you just mentioned. What was this whole experience like for them? Now, we know Erin was locked in on what was happening on stage. Charissa was getting her dance moves on. Go ahead.
To that point, Jarrett tried to kiss me during like one of her love songs, and I go, stop. I just want to watch. He'll definitely tell you that story. And I apologized the next morning because he goes, I'm so happy, babe. Thanks for bringing me, and tried to kiss me. And I go, stop. And I was trying to listen.
That makes me feel so much better. Jarrett, I love you so much. Can I say this? You can get mad at me. When we were at the bar and there was a stressful situation, we were doing a pub crawl before the old concert, and you were in a stressful situation, which I totally understood.
Sure.
And you were putting an order in, and like you wanted to try all the different like varieties because you couldn't figure out the right drink, and you go, actually, can I try that one? Actually, can I try that? This was like on your 4th one. Like, can I try that? Jarrett says to me about the bartender, goes, poor bastard. I just started laughing because I knew the stress that you were under, and the way that he said it was so funny because the bartender at that point's like, bitch, just order a drink. It was so funny.
I needed poor 15 bastard. Drinks.
I think it was also Jared tried to kiss you in the middle of the concert. That's sweet.
And I'm also embarrassed because I think Kylie was standing right there, and I was like, stop. Because I wanted to watch, like, I forgot what song it was. It was like, I think it was like Black Dog or something, and I really wanted to know what bridge or whatever. And he was like, I'm really happy, babe. I love you. And he tried to kiss me, and I go, stop.
Sweet.
She's got Charissa over here. She's got Jarrett over here.
She's just fucking putting us all
everybody
on the bench.
Move out of the way. Wow.
I think there was also like a moment, the 4 of us. There's so many funny lines because Steve's hilarious. He's obsessed with Reddit. Like Jared comes up with these one-liners. We don't know half of it, but I think like we were all sitting there and or we were at dinner, and Steve goes, I'm having a really great time. I'm so glad we did this. I love you guys. And Jared goes, they have cream spinach, babe. Okay.
For anyone that like gets that, where it's like there's a sentimental moment and then it's like, what? I don't know. It's just all funny to me, but yeah.
The boys had fun. And
the
Travis
boys had a great time.
Had a lot to do with that. Her show is incredible. If you can't have fun at that show, there's something wrong with you.
So what about sort of like the vibe overall and like all of the fans? Like, how would you describe that? Because sometimes concerts are like, oh, it's like a party. And obviously we see all the videos of guys like Hugh Grant or Prince William, like just going down.
Paul McCartney.
Paul McCartney.
So cool.
So how would you describe that overall?
Tom Cruise.
I would say, wait for this, a cornucopia of people that are truly having, like, think about that. We are in London. Sir Paul McCartney is outside of the tent where he could clearly just go in and hide away from the masses of fans, but he's out there dancing to But Daddy, I Love Him. Knock it off. You have, like you mentioned, Hugh Grant, you have Tom Cruise, you have all of these people, you have the most famous people in the whole world, and then you have these daughters and their dads or their moms or whatever. It's like, it's literally just everyone coming together who are like, pure joy is the way that I would sum it up. Yeah. And I think that, first of all, obviously, because I was dancing around, it went by so fast. I was so bummed. I was like, oh, I want more. Poor girl. She's like, 3.5 hours ain't enough for you, lady? But like, I wanted more. And the crowd was screaming more. I loved it. Pure joy is how I would sum it up.
Pure joy, feeling comfortable in your skin, even though I look like a soccer mom, which there's nothing wrong with that, Mrs. Beckham.
Soccer mom.
Yeah, I just...
Why did we say that? You were in jeans and a t-shirt. What am I missing about that?
Whatever. I was comfortable.
Okay.
It was amazing. I mean, when I came home, I remember somebody was like, was it worth it? I was like, yeah. Yeah. It was. I want to go again. And unfortunately, like, we have football on all the weekends. She's coming to the States. I'd love to try to figure it out. I will say this. And again, I think we said this as we left the concert, if you don't like her and you don't like her work ethic and you don't like how she makes people happy, then you don't like
I got nothing.
Life.
I know.
Yeah.
I got nothing to say to you on that. I mean, it's clear, obviously, our affection and admiration for her. But I just think in general, in a world where everyone has something negative, like finds a negative. I remembered I was telling Travis a story about when I first fell in love with Taylor Swift was because my niece, I don't know if I've said it before on here, but when she was diagnosed with a brain tumor, all she wanted to do when she got out of that hospital at 6 years old was go to a Taylor Swift concert. Yeah. And this has now been 14 years. And so we were at the Taylor Swift concert with this poor little baby all bandaged up, and she was singing every song and just like pure joy. And I was telling Travis this story, and he goes, you know what's crazy, Charissa? Like how many of those stories that you hear, and every single one is about how she has brought like so much joy to somebody or made them feel better or whatever it is. And like, you know how hard it is, I'm sure, like to be consistently nice. I'm not like, and it's just, you know, she probably just wants a break. But all of these stories and all of these things are always about how she goes out of her way and above and beyond to make people feel great. So if you have a problem with her, well, you're the problem. It's you.
Yeah, we had so much fun, so many good memories. We're still manifesting when we are going to meet Taylor over cocktails in the new year. So all of that, just always love talking about it and kind of geeking out with you guys. Okay, next up, we had on one of our favorites, Kevin Burkhardt, a little baby KK. He had some great travel and airport bar stories. We also talked to him about going from a car salesman to calling the Super Bowl and working the World Series. All of those he does so well. And like we said, we love him so much.
One of the articles that Erin sent me in case I didn't know your backstory, which I did, and it's one thing maybe that we have in common, Kev. You and I have both been at the forefront of selling some Chevrolets, all right? Just off I-405, exit 18 in Kirkland. Lee Johnson Chevrolet, come on down. You and I should have like a spokesperson, like sound off.
Yeah.
In conjunction with starting your career, you went and also sold cars. So I need you to give us the backstory in your own words about how that happened, where you went as the headline, and I will read the headline, which made me so happy because, again, you deserve all the recognition in the world. Kevin Burkhardt, one-time car salesman, is Fox's new NFL play-by-play guy. He was a used car salesman. Now he's calling the Super Bowl. So how do you go from that?
Wall Street Journal, by the way, wrote that. That's pretty big shit when you have a whole article about you. I didn't get asked for that one. Weird.
I'm like, what can I do to put you in this new Tahoe? Touchdown, Cowboys! Whoa. It's It's all in the same breath. You know what? It's actually a really fun story. And if we don't do a car commercial together at some point, I don't even know what we're doing. Seriously,
Fox is missing a huge opportunity here with the two of us.
I mean, hello.
You've got a friend in the car business. We'll do our jingle later. Yeah.
Oh, I don't know if I remember the jingle, but I did do a commercial for them, ironically, later, and it was horrendous, but I did it.
Okay, we got to pull it. Do you remember any part of it?
Oh, I remember all of it because we played it on the baseball postgame show. They busted my chops playing it. Yeah, it was just like me and this. It was me and this giant, I had a shirt that was like 16X and I weighed like 170 pounds. I was like, "Hi, welcome to Pine Belt Chevrolet," and I was like, I can't believe that guy's on the air doing like the Fox A game. It's wild. But anyway, yeah. So I just basically, as we've all been, right? You hit these parts where you're just like, okay. And I just hit a wall and I was like, why can't I get a break? I don't understand what's going on. And so I literally just went through the Sunday classifieds back when the newspaper was still being delivered. And I found a car dealership and I was like, you know what? I'll go do that. I had no idea how to sell cars, any of that stuff. And I just went in. The guy said, okay, sure, you're hired. And then I kind of said, well, I think I'm a sportscaster. So he's like, all right, or whatever. And then we just started talking and I got some opportunities to fill in occasionally on WCBS in New York. And then he heard me one night driving home from the dealership. And he's like, man, you're really good. He's like, okay. He's like, so you let me know when you get freelance opportunities. I'll just let you go. Just keep it between me and you. So he turned into a real friend. This guy by the name of Mike Trevino, who still owns one of the couple of the dealerships. And so it became like a relationship. And when I got gigs, he just let me go. And then I sold I did pretty well selling cars. So it actually was I enjoy talking about it because I enjoy telling young people hey, I was in the middle of it trying to figure it out too, right? You don't have to get it right out of college and go to the top thing. Your path can be kind of weird. So it was a good learning experience, no doubt. I actually took a lot from it. It was cool.
What's the biggest thing it taught you? Sorry,
yeah.
CT. What did it teach you kind of holding out and having to schlep and sell cars and all that?
Yeah, it's a great question. Quite simply, it just taught me to ask for stuff I wanted. And because I was always a don't rock the boat. I still kind of am. I'm pretty laid back. You guys know, unless I get to the point where something really pisses me off, which doesn't happen very often at all. And so I'm usually just a go with the flow guy. And doing that job, very simply, you either ask for what you want or you don't put money in, you don't pay rent, So it just taught me to negotiate, to ask for things, because the worst people could say is no. And then from there, I took that lesson and I called a guy who I'd worked with before, who was a program director at the Fan in New York, Eric Spitz. And I just called him and I said, hey, I think I'm good enough to work at your station. Can I audition? And he said, okay, come in Friday. I'm like, what? So it was just just a simple lesson, but it was just one that I guess I just never knew how to do. So it taught me a very valuable skill.
But don't you also appreciate that you had to do things like that? Because now when you sit in a booth and you call a Super Bowl, or you sit on that desk alongside Alex Rodriguez or Derek Jeter or Big Papi, and you're at the World Series, I imagine, because it's how I feel when we've all had the great fortune of living out our dream job, is that you're but it didn't, no one just handed you a Willy Wonka golden ticket as you get to do this. You had to go through all these other things, or you had to work, your way up to get to where you are. So I imagine the appreciation is there and you wouldn't change it for the world.
You're spot on. I mean, you know me well. I would never change it, and I will never not appreciate what I'm doing, because I know the alternative, right? And just sitting there trying to climb the ladder and hope you get anywhere near the top. Forget about to the top. Just getting traction and moving up in the industry and doing things you want to do. So yeah, from there, there's never a time that I don't go and walk a field at a stadium with Erin and not look around just for a second and be like, this is pretty cool that I am standing on this field and going to talk to all these people later doing this. There's never one game where that doesn't happen. And you're right. It's because of that experience and my journey here. And everyone, there's a lot of people that come out and go right in and their stars right from school or right from high school. God bless them. That's great. I don't think I would have been. I think the way that I did it was good for me. I think it helped me get to be who I am today. So I embrace it. I really do. I'm happy it happened that way.
I want best cars sales pitch. I like, say I'm just going in as a woman. What things should I stay away from guys like you? What things are
guys like you
salesmen,
like
you son of a no? Tell me, like, what is one? What's always your go to? Like, I always have my fallback go to question for Kyle at halftime or Matt at halftime. What was your go to sales pitch?
What is most important to you? It was always like, okay, because people always had a trigger. So it was always, is the monthly payment important? Is it a newer used car? Is it a certain feature in the car? Like, they always had a trigger. So it was finding out what that trigger was and then kind of working off of that. The crazy thing is, and I don't know if it's still the same. I mean, this was, when did I last sell cars? I mean, I don't even remember the year.
It's all the same.
Point.
As a daughter of a used car salesman, it's all the same. If you can sell, you can sell. It doesn't matter if this is 1986 or if it's 2024. Like, that's all the same.
True.
No doubt. But Charissa, like, the crazy thing is, and I tell people this and they still don't blame me, like, you would, just the way it's structured, and maybe it's not like this at every place, but, our place, it depended on, what kind of incentives the dealer had and things like that. And you got paid a lot on structure. Like, if you sold 8 cars that month, you got a bonus, something like that. And there would be times where I would sell, a $50,000 Suburban and I would make $50 on the sale. And it made no sense, like literally no sense. So it was just no rhyme or reason. To sometimes it depended. And then there'd be other times you'd sell a $25,000 car, but the dealer owned it for a certain price and you'd make a good amount. You made a couple grand. So you had to be like, okay.
I think it's one of the... I'm only interjecting because I think it's one of the hardest things. Again, my father worked construction, hurt his back, and then he had to sell cars. And so I watched him growing up, like that idea. And then eventually, to his credit, like you, like he ended up owning the dealership, or, he didn't become the lead announcer for Fox, but I'm sure he would have loved that opportunity too. But when you watch somebody you're dependent, sales is the hardest thing to do because there is no guaranteed money and you have a family to support. And it was like the stress that comes with that. But I have so much respect for doing that job, and not only doing that job because I watched it be hard for my father, but also because you were willing to do anything to support your family. And I think that that's something that's like so commendable. Here's the one thing that my dad taught me. Yeah. My dad always told me, don't close after the sale. Like if I'm on the lot and I'm like, okay, I'll take it. And then you keep being like, and there's air conditioning and there's this, it's like, ooh, they already bought it. Don't shut up. Just shut up, because now you might say more. And it's like, they've already said they're going to buy the car. So like so many times, and I think about this in my own life, like if like, whatever, I get a job and I'm like, okay, but I'm going to work really hard and I'm going to do this. It's like, you shut up. We just gave you the job. Now you're ruining it. Walk away, go sign the goddamn paperwork before they take it back. So don't close after the sale was my big
and I promise you won't regret it. And I'll come in early.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, okay, lady. But yeah, I just love that. That's so great. Well, Kevin, it's not a surprise to me, though, that you were successful at that because, and I say this so unbiasedly, yes, I feel lucky enough to be your teammate, as I know Erin does, but you are one of the nicest. Anyone listening to this, you have to know that what you see is what you get with Kevin. There's no like, he's one person on TV and another person when the TV, he walks out of the booth and takes the mic off.
That's not true. Okay, sassy Kevin is a fucking time.
Okay, I meant the kind person that he's not an asshole behind the scenes.
Oh, no.
Sassy, yes, but kind Kevin, in the person that no matter what would happen in life, you would always be there. And I just love you for that. You are so consistent in that department. Now,
I
sassy,
so
let's turn it over to Erin for more on that.
There'll be times, and no one knows this better than Kevin and Charissa. We are week 12. We are week 10. We're tired. We're sassy. We're boarding an airline and maybe you can't all go together, or maybe it's like you get somebody that's loading you into the plane that just isn't too happy. And this one turns around to me as he's boarding and he goes, wow, strict Saturdays in full effect. And I'm just like, sassy Kevin is boarding the plane, my man, to Detroit. The one-liners this guy has are insane. They're insane.
I'll throw out some one-liners. Erin loves the sassy Kev. John, we were talking about John Lynch earlier. He used to say the jersey's coming out, like the jersey's coming out. Uh-oh. KB, the Jersey KB is coming out a little bit now.
Yeah.
So, you get that. You get, I get some moments.
You gotta have that though.
I may save a couple for Erin on weekends just to I save them up so then I could unload them on.
My favorite is when Kev just said, from everything that he's gone through in his career to be where he is now, that's why he takes an extra minute to enjoy walking around the field. I was going to say, except when you're going and you're broadcasting a Detroit Lions game and the punter smokes your fucking hand with a ball.
What? What was that?
We thought his hand was fucking broken.
John Fox saved my life. Like we were I forgot about that. That was last year, right? Was that last year?
Was it Thanksgiving?
No, it wasn't Thanksgiving. I think we were there another time. No, it definitely wasn't Thanksgiving. I know that. It was week 2. We were there against Seattle.
Detroit, yeah.
It was week 2, and we were down on the, you know how it is. You always have to pay attention when you're on the field, but we were like off the field. We were like off the sideline. I mean, honestly, 5 yards off the sideline. So usually there, you're not going to get, and no teams were warming up. This was like special teams period. So it's just like field goal unit, stuff like that. So I wasn't even thinking of looking at the field at that time. So I'm talking, we're talking to John Fox, and Erin was like over positioned this way. And I'm like, I'm like looking this way, and John is like somehow looking back. And all of a sudden we're talking, John goes, "Look out." Like last second, and I had no, that. So I just did this, and God. Then the punt hits me like right here,
clocks his hand.
Oh shit! It hit like my hand and my head, and I was like, I had no idea how a punt got there, but I guess like Jack Fox, the punter for Detroit, who by the way was amazing. He came like running over, like, "Are you okay?" I'm like, "Dude, like, thank you, but like, go do your job." But like, so it got me good, and I was like, "All right, this is gonna be great. Do a game like concussed, great, fantastic." But it hurt. It gave me like, I was like, man, I don't know how you guys catch these things. Like it hurt. My hand was like blowing up. I was like, all right, well, see if it's broken. It was fine. But yeah, Erin's like, "We're getting you to the doctor right now. Get the team doctor." She had me like locked and loaded. She got me ice. She got me the whole thing. She took care of me.
She is far before she was a mother to Mac. You are very good in those situations, Erin. Crisis situations.
For sure.
I mean, is there anyone better than Kevin Burkhardt? The fact that this guy is just as nice as he is talented. He is a rare bird, one of one. We love you, Kevin. All right. So we had so many amazing interviews. One that really stood out to us just because we loved her before we got a chance to interview her. And then after we spoke to her, we were like, oh my God, you are everything we wanted and more. Miranda Lambert talked about how things just get better once you get in your 40s. She's learned from so many different lessons in her life. She's the ultimate girl's girl. Also has an incredible line of boots that she sent us that are so great. You guys have to check it out at Boot Barn. But we love Miranda Lambert, and we appreciate how authentic she is, amongst many other things. You mentioned like you've always been you and you've always been authentic, which is one of the many reasons that people love you. It's why we love you, is because like it or not, Erin and I very much are like who we are, and that's sometimes met with criticism, but we don't care. I think we're both at a like bucket like place in our life, and that we're very confident in our own life. Better, worse, and different. You just turned 40, right?
I did, and it's awesome.
It's awesome. Exactly. Exactly.
It really is. It's freeing, and it feels like just more permission to like only care about the opinions of people that really matter to you, and the rest of them just their noise. And I give even less of a shit now about the noise, because I want the people in my circle that are really valuable to my life and that I value everything they say. I listen to them and I drown out the noise. And I feel like turning 40 really helped me like do that even more. And everyone that's in their 40s says it's the best decade. And so I'm like, let's go. It's going to be awesome.
Is there a song that you love on this new album, Postcards from Texas, which, by the way, is coming out September 13th? Is that correct? Yeah,
yes.
That's right. Is there a song about not giving a shit? Because that's really been Charissa and I's anthem. Although I do love Armadillo, because that was my secret password when I was a child and we lived in Texas. If a stranger ever picked us up, our parents were like, the secret code word is Armadillo. That never happened.
Oh, yeah.
But
I
is
love
there
that.
a not give a shit song? Like, don't give a shit?
You know, I think Damn It Randy is the closest. And there's also one called Bitch on the Sauce, but she does give a shit.
It's so good.
But yeah, I just feel like, and I did Wranglers on this record too. And it felt really important to me. Like, people say, "Oh, you're back." I'm like, the fiery girl never left. I mean, I feel like there's songs on this record. Almost every song could have been on like Kerosene, which was my very first album, or Crazy Ex-Girlfriend, or Revolution, or there's like snippets of every phase of my musical career on this record, so it feels, my really good friends are texting me going, this record feels like I could have heard Damn It Randy on Revolution, and I could have heard Wranglers on Kerosene. And it's like, that makes me feel even better. Like I made the right choices, and I stuck with my gut and made the record I was supposed to make for this time in my life.
Miranda, so much of who you are is, that we love is that not give a shit attitude. But in a way, I mean, there's the other side of that is like, you do care. And there are so many headlines that get written, and you have lived your life in a spotlight. So how do you balance that? And where does your confidence come from to be able to just put away the noise and to know what's true to yourself, and just sort of, where does that all come from, having lived in the spotlight for so long?
I didn't get into this for the spotlight at all. I love country music. Like I got into it because I am lucky enough to get a gift of songwriting, and I was like, oh, I have this. I have to do something good with it. And I just didn't ever want to, I never remember saying like, I want to be famous or any of that. I wanted to make music that mattered, and really, as a woman, use my songs and my voice to, lift up other women, to save dogs, which I'm sure we'll talk about in a minute.
Yes.
But, I feel like I didn't get into it for that. So I've tried to not ever let that creep in, because it's like, it's also just noise. And it's not like it doesn't bother me sometimes. I mean, of course it does when people say things that aren't true, or take things out of context, or judge you on something that's completely false, but I know who I am, and I don't surround myself with yes people. I have real friends in my life, real people in my management team. I've been with my manager for 21 years, and it's an all-girl team over there, and they'll tell me the truth, and so I don't, I feel like it keeps me like in a good, grounded place. And I've really worked on that my whole life, to stay grounded, even though this business is crazy sometimes.
It's such a good one. Erin and I've obviously work in a male dominated industry. Okay, fine. All of that kind of stuff. And I've always been like, oh, I'm a guy's girl, whatever. As of the last few years, I have leaned so hard on my girlfriends. Like I remember I was in a terrible marriage, and Erin called me and she goes, I will not be friends with you anymore if you stay in this. You're ruining your life. You're ruining and she was the only person that would have the balls to say that to me. And she was exactly what I needed, and the catalyst to get me out. And I leaned so hard on my female relationships now. So that's so cool that you have that, because they'll save your life. They're like the life jacket on your boat that will just save you from drowning in your own shit sometimes. So
they are. And it's important to tell the truth, and it's important to lift each other up, like good, bad, and ugly, and I think a lot of times people think women are like pitted against each other, and I just don't think that's true. Not in my world. I mean, I'm like, go run, live your dream, be amazing. I'm here for the highs. I'm here for the lows. And my friends are there for me for both of those things too. And I just think, it's a lot more energy to like, somebody said this the other day. I was on vacation with my manager, went to Italy. It was amazing.
Ooh, where?
We went to Como, in Florence, and Tuscany. It was awesome. We went for her birthday, and there was a big group of people, and there was this really wise friend of hers, Elizabeth, and she said, there's a difference in winning and wanting to beat everybody. And I was like, wow, like that really struck me, because we could all win. But when you start trying to beat each other and like step on toes to get where you think you need to go, is where all the ugly comes in. And if you just stay in your lane and lift each other up and cheer for them, even if they are ahead of you, it's like we're all going to win in our way at some point. Like, and I just think that resonated with me, and I'm going to use that a lot in my life moving forward.
That's beautiful.
Yeah, I love that. I do want to talk about Mutt Nation, but I would be remiss if I didn't ask you this, and maybe for you to give a little bit more of your pep talk, motivation, love to my best friend. You've been very public about what's gone on in your life in terms of marriage, finding love again, getting married again, and saying, I'm so glad I did it. this is the happiest I've seen my best friend in a relationship. And it's one of those, and I don't know about you, like my husband wants to hang out with her boyfriend. I call her boyfriend her husband because I want them to get married. What do you recommend about doing it again, Miranda?
You know, I'm so happy. I learned so much from all the experiences that were even, I always say you don't learn when everything's going great. You don't learn when everything's just smooth sailing. You get the lessons during the hard stuff. And that's where I really grew as a woman and kind of grew in my heart and like understood myself more. And so I think I spent so much time like relearning myself during that really hard time. To like when I met Brendan, I felt like I was much more prepared and my heart was like much more open and ready to love. And I'm also a risk taker. I'm like, I take risk in my career. I take risk with my charities and my brands. So why not take, no risk, no reward. It's like, I know that loving big means hurting big. But pain does subside. And so if that's the only risk is the pain, I've lived through that. So I'm like, let's go. Because I want the reward of what this great love can be. And it's worth it to me to like just run and jump off that cliff, And a lot of my friends are like, they say to me like, you're crazy, but we wish we were like that. You know what I mean? So I think it's like, what do you have to lose? Especially if you've already been through something really hard.
It is really inspiring to hear that because I do believe in love. And I will tell you who the number one indicators of a good man is: dogs. When I first introduced my dogs to my boyfriend, they didn't bark, they didn't growl, and these dogs are like, I've got 6, Miranda, but these 2 in particular would be the first ones to be like, warning, like abort mission. So when you know that like you have a good man is when the dogs are all in. You do incredible things. You love dogs the way that Erin and I do. And I just, Mutt Nation, please tell everybody more about it and how you got started and where your love of animals, in particular dogs, came from.
Well, I had 9 dogs when I met Brendan. 9 rescue dogs. I know. And I was like, why didn't you think I was like a crazy dog lady? And yes, I am a crazy dog lady. So he saw that and married me anyway. But speaking of dogs, like I started Mutt Nation with my mom in 2009, and my mom and dad were private investigators my whole life. So we sort of like wanted to use her experience and like vetting people to like, I was asking my fans to go, hey, I started a charity called Mutt Nation Foundation. We're asking you for money. And I wanted to be able to tell them where their dollars were going. You know what I mean? Like what exactly we're spending this money on. And so my mom and I just started this little, kind of a mom and pop operation back then to raise awareness for spay and neuter, to push adoptions, adopt, don't shop. We started it just for those small little reasons, because I used to volunteer at the shelter in East Texas, but it just has grown so much, and we've done such amazing programs, and we've raised almost $10 million since we started.
Wow.
Yep.
$10 million? Miranda, that's incredible.
Incredible.
And we have saved hundreds and hundreds of dogs. And we don't have a shelter. Some people, we got a text today. It was like, I found a dog. I'm like, so I work with a ton of shelters. What we say is Mutt Nation lifts up the shelters. Like we help with renovations. We help with transport vans. We give grants every year to all 50 states, to a shelter in all 50 states. I just met a lady the other day that we had given a grant of $5,000 to last year. And she bought a transport van because she saves mama dogs that had puppies. So she fosters the puppies. Just these little organizations all around the US that people aren't really looking out for. That's where Mutt Nation comes in, because we see them and they're small. And we also do huge things. Like when Harvey happened, we were boots on the ground. We had every vehicle we could find, and we were down there moving dogs out and helping place local dogs. And it was one of the hardest but most rewarding things that I've ever been a part of. But I'm really thankful that people are sewing into this charity. It's my number one passion. Music and mutts are my 2 things that I live for. And so the fact that I can mix the 2, that my music has got me a platform that can speak for the voiceless. Makes me so happy.
Oh my God. Well, I really want to get involved, and I will talk to your people about that because I'm very passionate. I don't have children. Like, these are my children, and my whole feed and Instagram is like dog rescues and saving. And I spend like literally then just crying and being like, how can I help this random dog in Alabama? So I totally feel that. And Erin does too. She's got her golden retriever Howie, and we're so passionate about that. So it's amazing. I can't believe you've raised $10 million. That's really, really cool.
It's incredible. And I will say that when sometimes people, like, I get overwhelmed, even like, I'm not doing enough. I can't do enough. I can't save them all. But I do think that if people can't, if they're not in a position to go adopt a dog, or they're not in a position to, volunteer for 10 hours a week, it's like just 1 hour of your time a week, like, can change the entire trajectory of a dog's path. Like, interacting with humans, getting them out of their crate or getting them out of their enclosure for an hour, and human interaction. So, like, I encourage people, we're not asking just for money, maybe just an hour of your time a month, even. It's start small, because every little bit counts. And I have to remind myself of that all the time, because I get overwhelmed. I follow all these shelters and I'm like, how can we help? But that's what Mutt Nation is here for. It's like one little step at a time, and we can do huge, amazing things.
It's beautiful.
You can find out more about Mutt Nation at muttnation.com, because that's where I went to check it all out. What's your biggest hope? What do you want to get bigger and better about all this?
I want to really raise awareness, just keep raising awareness for people. Shelters are not scary places. They seem scary, but they're amazing dogs that are already there that need homes. So we need to cut down on the breeding. Spay and neuter is so important, y'all. It's like, there's this rush of this certain kind of breed everybody wants, and then everybody breeds it, and then they bring them to the shelters, and it keeps perpetuating the problem. So, and raising more money. I mean, I'm doing a show in Nashville on October 5th at Ascend, called Music for Mutts, and all the money goes straight to Mutt Nation, so we can fill our pot again and start pushing out money to all of the amazing people we work with. And just awareness is our biggest thing. Like, I really want to encourage people to just give it a shot. Just go by the shelter. If you're in the market at all to adopt, just stop by and see, like, who grabs your heart, because they will.
It's funny you say that, because I'm like, I want to adopt them all. And so I recently have purchased a ranch, a much smaller ranch than yours. I know I think you have 400 acres. Is that right?
Yeah, outside of Nashville.
Incredible. And I was like, I just want to rescue them all and bring them all to the ranch. They can just run around and be free. But it's really beautiful what you've done. And I definitely want to and will get involved to help you. So let's go back to your other passion of music. You have done so much. And obviously, in the world that Erin and I are in with athletes, we're constantly asking them, what do you want your bucket list of, like, check off the things? Do you want to win the MVP? Obviously, their goal is always to win a Lombardi trophy. Do you have goals that you set for yourself? I mean, the countless awards that you've already achieved in your career. And is this your 10th record? Is that right?
Yeah, it's my 10th record.
Wow, you're 10 double digits, sister. I mean, like, is there a checklist of what you want to achieve, or do you just continue to live out your dream every day and be grateful for where it goes?
I have a lot I want to do. I don't have it like all. I actually talked to my manager about that this morning on the phone, that I want to, like, lay it out on paper. And the great part about it all is that I'm only just turned 40, and I achieved so many of those from my goal list early, which was really
good
a
for
lot.
You.
I mean, I worked my ass off, but it was awesome, So, but I really feel like music has led to so many things. Mutt Nation. I mean, I want to keep growing and getting bigger and better with that. My brand Idol win at Boot Barn. I'm super involved in that. Like, you have the Fringe. I'm super involved. Nothing I have my name on. I see everything that has my name on it. Like Casa Rosa, our bar on Broadway, the first woman to have one.
First one.
I just want to. Like 3 chords have led me to all of this. And that's crazy to think about. My dad taught me 4 in case I needed an extra.
That's really sweet.
Yeah. Taught me 4 chords at 17 on the guitar. And since then, all these other amazing things have come to fruition. And so, but all that to say, it starts with the music. So I just want to keep creating, because I just started a label called Big Loud Texas. I'm a founder of that label to sow into younger artists, especially from our amazing state. So much music comes out of there, so many kinds of music. So I just want to keep letting all the arms that have, like, reached out from the music grow, but I have to keep that creative part so sacred because that's where it starts and ends.
I was reading a great article where you talked about, much like Charissa, I don't have kids. Charissa's got, all her animals. I know you do as well, but like to mentor young artists. And I'm not young and I'm not an artist, but I feel like you're mentoring me right now with all the great things you're saying. What kind of advice do you give them? What's your first piece of advice when they want to kind of try this industry out, or they have these dreams or want to, write down these words on paper? What do you suggest to them?
My mom's advice to me when I started at 17 was know who you are and stick with it. And that has gotten me through this crazy roller coaster of entertainment business. So that's my first piece of advice. It's like, I want to know who you are. I want to know how hungry you are too. Like you have to, this is not for the faint of heart, especially for female artists. Like you got to really want it and know what it takes to get there. And so, I asked them to ask themselves that because my mom made me ask myself that. And me not having a plan B, I wasn't going to go to college. I wasn't very good at school. I just knew that I wanted to chase this. And so my parents were like, think long and hard because there's no plan B. This is just your college money. Like, this is it. So,
oh my God.
So, I feel like, you can tell early on if someone's going to really want it. And I think the hunger for it and the passion for it is so important because it's hard.
Erin and I talk about that all the time when, women will ask us, Erin and I both, 20 years into this wonderful industry. This was both our dreams to be sports broadcasters, and we feel so grateful every day to do it. But young girls will be like, I want to be on TV. And you're like, okay, well, this ain't going to work. Because you have to be able to think about those, long weeks and months and whatever, and you're away from your friends and you're away from your family and you're staying in the middle of nowhere. And like, it sounds like a parallel path in a way of like, you're playing those small bars that like no one's in. And like, you're having to do that. So when you say that your parents were like, oh, that's your college money, what were you using that money for?
Like gas to get to a club, a guitar. Honestly, it was like, and my parents were cops and PIs. Like we didn't have much. And so I knew like if I use this, that's it. And I'm just going to have to go work at the dog shelter, which also I would have loved. But
now you can do both. Yeah,
exactly. Now I get to do both. But it just was, it's a crazy path. But it's beautiful to be able to recognize early, like, this is my dream. I'm going for it. And like hell or high water, and it takes grit. And I love seeing that in people like you guys, because I know how hard it is to get to where you want to go. And not everyone is cut out for it, but when you get there, then you have so many stories to tell. And like, you can help younger women go, hey, this is what it takes. And I'm here for the highs, good, bad, and ugly. Like I'm close with Lainey Wilson, and I love watching her star rise. And like, she called me one night, and it was I was late at night, and I was on the bus. She was on the bus, and she's like, hey, I just wanted to call you because my song went #1, my very first #1. And she was like, I just wanted to hear your voice because I wanted to talk to somebody who knew exactly what that felt like.
Oh my God. What does it feel like?
That's so amazing.
Well, it feels like, oh my God, like relieving because you need it so bad. And then it feels like, oh shit, now here we go. You know what I mean? Because it's a big deal. So I just things like that. That's where I'm like, I'm glad y'all have each other. I'm glad that you can find this girl tribe that you can lift each other up and be like, here for the highs, there for the lows.
Calm Down with Erin and Charissa is a production of iHeartRadio. For more podcasts from iHeartRadio, visit the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts.